You started recording. Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good morning, everyone, everywhere in the world.
Well, here we are. Another Tuesday interview with one of our leaders. Okay. And we are very happy to have with us this evening Lisa and Paul Park.
Yes.
Say hi. Otherwise, yeah. And you guys are in Las Vegas.
Yep.
3 hours behind us.
Yeah.
That's why we chose to do this in the evening. Normally we do this 9 o'clock in the morning. And I don't think you appreciate getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning to do this. That's why we changed it to 8 p.m. for you guys.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right, welcome to our show, so to speak. So tell us something about yourselves. Lisa, why don't you start?
Yeah, both of you. Doesn't matter who start
Yeah,
first.
Sure. So I was a teacher before I started New Skin, and I loved what I was doing because I got to see children excel at what they do. I taught music, and I also taught elementary school a little bit. And what I loved about it was that you get to see children progress, get better, and you just see their growth, and it's very fulfilling. But at the same time, when I wanted to teach more students, what I had to do was I had to work more hours. So even if I had a waiting list of students that wanted to learn from me, I had to either turn them down or I had to work 7 days a week. I even did did piano accompaniment at church. So on Friday nights they would have choir practice, and on Sunday morning they would have the church service. So my week was 7 days a week, just working day and night. And I was like thinking, okay, how many years can I do this until I get burnt out? And can I do this until I'm 65 years old? And I just didn't see that happening. So when Paul told me about Nu Skin, that was when I first heard about it. I was using the products for a really long time and I really loved it, but I never saw this as a business. And I never thought that, okay, this is a way for me to get out of this rat race, to get out of this cycle. And when Paul showed me the vision of Nu Skin, I thought, okay, there's no other solution than this, to be able to be free completely without having to be present at a studio or at a job. And when I heard about that vision, the more I dug deeper, the more I realized, okay, there's no better vehicle than this.
Okay, how about you, Paul?
A little about myself. Well, it's been 10 years since we've been doing the business full time. Prior to joining Nu Skin, my background was in finance and accounting. So when I was in college, that's when the investment and Wall Street, everything was really hot during that time. And it was just something that I was kind of interested in. And after graduating college, I got a job in that field. And I was working really hard, and it was great, for to be in your early 20s and to have a full-time income. It was really exciting. Me and Lisa were still dating at the time, and we were just enjoying life. And in 2007, 2008, as the economy started to take a downturn, my hours increased, the stress level increased. And when the economies are good and people who are working and dealing with money, then everyone's friendly and everyone's in a good mood. But when the economy's bad and things have to tighten up, then the people who deal with money, then you find that they're stressed out, and people are just not as nice anymore when you're dealing with your creditors or your clients or things like that. So I found that in my late 20s, because the economy was bad, my job was just giving me so much stress. I was so unhappy. And because the whole economy was down, what happened was that every company is suffering. So there was not really many days where you go to work smiling and enjoying the day, because it's just nonstop stress until things get better. And I was really looking for more. I wanted to be free. I wanted to be wealthy. I have a lot of things. And because I was dealing with the money in my company, I was able to do projections and budgeting, of course. And when I projected into the future, I'm able to see 1 year, 3 year, 5 year of potential raises, potential bonuses, and having that information, inside info, I was able to kind of see a glimpse of my future. And I saw that even if I kept working so hard, there wouldn't be a great increase in my lifestyle or in my income. So to think of doing that until 65 or whenever retirement may be, it just seems so daunting to me. So when I turned 30, I actually quit my job and went full-time into Nu Skin.
So how do you bump into Nu Skin, or how do you meet Nu Skin?
30 years, I started Nu Skin full-time, but I knew about Nu Skin since I was in college. My father, he met Nu Skin when he was 60 years old in Korea, of all places.
Oh.
And my parents immigrated here when my dad was 30 years old. And they had the typical immigrant life where they had small businesses in New York. And I just remember growing up, it was, like a dry cleaning business, a bakery, and, just the typical small businesses that people from overseas tend to do. And at 60 years old, I was away in college. I'm the youngest of three. And my father was thinking of his next way to create income. So he went out to Korea to see what the market was like there. Maybe there'll be a good product in the US that I can send to Korea. And of course, everyone's interested in health. So he was thinking, I wonder if they sell GNC or other type of branded, supplements or products. And if I were to distribute in Korea, could I make money? So he's in Korea studying, the market of Korea. And somebody invites him to a Nu Skin meeting. And at that time, he even saw like a big flyer for Pharmanex. So because it was similar to the supplement and nutrition that he was looking at, he went to a meeting, and I guess he saw the vision and realized this is what I'm going to do. So my dad was doing that throughout my 20s, and he actually decided to stay in Korea and live there to do the business. So he was in Korea, and then my mom was still with me because I was still in school. And he was in Korea for 2 years. He became a diamond in 10 months. So he grew very, very quickly. And he was getting good traction in Korea, building his team out in Korea. And then in 2002, there was the talk of how China market was going to open soon. So they opened in 2003, but in 2002, my dad lived in China for a year trying to find someone and build a market there. So, he was there. And then I think his total time in Asia was about 6 years, 2 years in Korea, 4 years in China. And during that time, it was just struggle. So my view of Nu Skin wasn't very big. It wasn't very grand of what I know it to be now. I was just like, oh, that's my dad's work, and I'm going to continue down my path in finance. And 6 years, because of health issues, he had to come back to the States. So he was back home with us, and his health wasn't good. He had to have open heart surgery, and he was not working much when he was back in the States. And this was around the time when I was getting burnt out from my job. The economy started to go bad starting 2007, and I'm increasing my hours and working so hard. And meanwhile, he's home recovering. He's home focused on his health, not working that hard, and just, not prioritizing the business. But I saw the residual check come in, and that blew my mind. Aside from the amount, I was focused on wow, how can I make money without working, without slaving at my job for 5 days a week and minimum 10-hour days? I was like, man, how am I gonna I want some of that. So the freedom is what really caught my eye. But even then, even though I saw that, it still took me 3 years to be like, this is, I'm gonna do this full time. So it was a 10-year, I guess, recruiting process for my dad, for me, because he started in 2000, I started in 2010, and then Lisa came on board in 2011 full time. And it's just been a crazy, crazy journey with Nu Skin that we've had.
And because Paul's dad was able to show that by example, that is what excited us too. So as leaders, it's really important to show that example. And to tell you the crazy hours that Paul worked before Nu Skin, he would have his full-time job from 9 to 5. And then he wanted to earn money so badly that he went to another job from 10 o'clock to 2 a.m. or 3 a.m.
Yeah, I got an opportunity to run a lounge in Hollywood. So somebody I knew was the owner of a bar slash lounge, and it wasn't doing well. So she was looking for someone to manage it on the weekends. So from Thursday to Sunday, I would go in around 9, and then in LA everything closes at 2. So when we closed out, it would be about 3 o'clock once we, finished all the work, and then I would get home around 3:30, and then go back to work the next morning. So yeah, I guess I was always just kind of looking for that big thing that I could do that will give me the lifestyle I want, because I didn't feel like I would get it from my job. So I tried a lot of different, side gigs and other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we realized the only way that at that time, the only way that we knew how to make money was to work more hours. We thought that that was the only way. But Nu Skin really like helped us see what is leveraged income, you know? And yeah, we've never heard of that before, Nu Skin. And when we saw that vision, it really, for me personally, it really opened the doors of possibilities.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So when you saw Nu Skin, you saw mainly the business, or you've been using the products too, right?
Oh yeah, all we had in Nu Skin products throughout our
20s.
20s was just Nu Skin in our house. So we've been using the products, but didn't really care to know why it was so good. It was just like, all right, this is what's at home, so let's use it. Not knowing that it was, the best of the best. I mean, of course, we heard from my parents that, oh, this product is great. They show us demos, but when you're not open, none of that absorbs, or none of that comes into our head. And we may hear it, but we don't truly listen. And it's not until we join the business that we're like, wow, look at this demo. Look at these amazing products and ingredients. Even though we've been avid users for so long.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cute. So we're looking at you and thinking about our kids, okay?
When we first started Nu Skin, we were the youngest at 30 years old. Now to see like 18-year-olds, early 20s, kids just coming out of college, it's really inspiring, because people are seeing now that it's not about having a good job or going to a good college. It's really about creating your own future, and you're creating your own hustle in a way, so that you could not have a boss tell you what to do, not have a boss tell you how many vacation days that you can take, or if can I go to lunch? You have to ask your boss before you do simple things like that. And a lot of the younger generation is seeing that, oh, you know what, I want to create my own schedule, my own work life, my own lifestyle. So yeah, it's really fun to see how much it has changed in that sense. The younger generation is coming in more.
Yeah. I think we know it too. It's very difficult to recruit your kids.
Yes.
They're ready.
You can. I think they just get to a point where they just realize, because my dad didn't even tell me about, he wasn't trying to get me to do Nu Skin. And, he briefly mentioned it a few times, like this may be good. But when I decided to quit my job and go full time, my parents didn't know. I actually told them after I quit, and that I was going to do it full time. So they were happy. Like the phone call, I called them. I was like, you know what? I decided to do Nu Skin. And they're like, yeah, great decision. I was like, I quit my job. And they're like, what? So they were concerned. But they knew. They're like, you know what? Yeah, work hard at it. Their belief was they're in the business. So they're like, your parents would never tell you to do something or some type of work that they didn't know or believe to be a great advantage or benefit to your future. So they were worried, because they know with their journey, it took many years to build up a certain level of income. And they were worried about, because I was making more money than Lisa at the time when we were married. So it was then that since I was quitting and Lisa was still working, they were a little worried, like, will you guys be okay? But I always saw Nu Skin.
Yeah, that's very common. I mean, when you tell your parents, oh, I'm doing Nu Skin full time. What?
I mean, if they weren't doing Nu Skin and I told them that, they would probably flip out, but
True. Yeah. Wow. That's really good.
Yeah, it's just like her mom one time asked, back in the early 90s,
Yeah.
there's some bumps in the Nu Skin business,
I
right? I mean,
remember.
that we were being attacked, and her
Mhm.
mom was sort of, maybe you should go back to work.
I know.
Maybe you go back to go get a job. We're trying to get out of a job, and now you're telling me to go back to a job.
Mhm, mhm. I
That's,
think because,
yeah, go ahead.
I think because I saw my dad's journey, the struggle that he went through, and you know, our home was in the States, but he was there for business. So there was double expenses going out when he was first starting out in Korea and in China. So what I remember from my young 20s was, my early 20s was the amount of investment it took just to be able to survive, you know, with your home in the States and build a business overseas. So I saw, especially when I went to China, it was like the Wild West. I remember like offices would get shut down, and you know, there was just so
Yeah.
many crazy stories. And you know, when the office would get shut down, they would confiscate all the furniture, all the equipment, so they had to buy more and, you know, open up another office. So I remember there being a lot of expenses. So I knew that when I started full time, the money's not going to happen overnight. So I gave myself, you know, 3 to 5 year cushion while budgeting Lisa's, you know, full-time income. And before I started, I don't really share this a lot with people, but I actually took out a lot of money as if
Mm.
I was starting my own business. So I calculated, okay, how much do I need to survive for a minimum of 3 years with zero income? And because my background was in accounting and finance, I was very good at moving money around. And at that time, creditors were very generous with their zero APRs and low interest stuff. So I took out almost $100,000, and I
Mm.
parked it aside as, you know, the until New Skin can get off the ground. And it's funny when I talk to my partners, I say, don't ever do what I did, and don't ever do it like that.
Ah,
So my parents were worried. I told them, I was like, don't worry, you know, for the next few years until New Skin is up and running, we figured it out. So we were, I think because I had that skin in the game, when things got hard, there was no option to quit, because it was like, this is it, or you're gonna go
Bust.
bankrupt. It's success or bust, you know?
Yeah, we kind of gave ourselves no choice because we're like, okay, this is our solution. That's it. We put ourselves in a position where we can't fail, or
Mm.
there's no
Yeah.
failing.
no,
Right, right.
that was not an option.
And then it's funny because when I budgeted for, you know, 3 to 5 year projection, I was budgeting her income. And 1 year into, you know, me doing New Skin full time, we went to Utah
TEU.
together to TEU. And on the
Uh-huh.
drive home, Lisa's like, I want to quit my job too. And I was like, oh man, I did not calculate this part.
You didn't calculate that one in there. Okay.
Right, right.
Yeah, and I felt like I had to quit my job because if you want to become a team elite, you have to go to Team Elite University every single month.
One at that
But
point.
I
Yeah.
was not able to do that with my job. And my job, I knew that if I stick with that job, I'm not going to go anywhere. They're not going to increase my income by 100%. Or even 50%. Even if you get a raise, it's what, 2 to 5% every year. That's not worth it for me. So I had to put my skin in the game too, and we just
Mm.
went on and we put ourselves in a position where we had no choice but to succeed. So yeah.
Yes, I figured, okay, if it's Lisa full time too, then we could probably do it in half the time. But the business doesn't work like that. It will happen when it happens.
Yeah. That's great.
Mhm.
Oh my.
Yeah, I guess a lot of people think that when you tell them about New Skin, they have the idea that you want them to jump into this full time.
Right.
You know, oh no, no. You started as a side gig and then build it up to a point that you have a choice.
Right. I agree.
Okay. And I mean, but then when you make a choice, you better make a commitment to really go at it. You know? With this business, it's easy to get in, it's easy to drop out. That's
Mhm.
one of the major issue. You have no
Yes.
skin in the game, so to speak,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, it costs you very little to come in to
Yeah.
get started, and it's equally easy for you to drop out
Get out.
because you just
Right.
stop. So
Yeah. Because you didn't have anything. But yes,
You-
when you're committed. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so we both put both feet in the water.
we jumped in the pool without knowing how to swim, kind of.
Learn to swim after you hit the water.
Yeah, we're gonna either learn to swim or we're gonna die. So it's kind of like that mindset.
Well, that's interesting. That's
But
interesting.
that's good though.
Yeah.
I-
Anyway, so
Yeah.
we
You was
understand.
gonna say something. You
Yeah, go
stop.
ahead.
Oh no, you know how you were saying how everyone starts part-time and then they build up to full-time. I think I was at a point in my job where I was just so burnt out and I was so unhappy that if it wasn't Nu Skin, I would have done something else. And maybe I would have used that money to actually start a brick and mortar business, who knows? But I was just so sick and tired of being sick and tired of my job. So I think I was just ready for some big change, and luckily it was Nu Skin. But yeah, I agree. Quitting your job and starting full time, that's just kind of nuts.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, at least you have Lisa's salary to support, right?
But then Lisa's
1
ready to
year.
go. Jump in too. Okay.
I wish I had your story, Pat. That would have been awesome. You know?
I know. I deliberately did that, okay?
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
But anyway, now we know that you have a big group in China, and we surprised to know that you have 3 CEO, 1 under you in China.
Mhm.
4.
Wow. So 4 total. 4.
Okay.
Yeah, with Michelle. 4
4.
millionaires under him.
Are they sidelines or they one line? Well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it's-
one straight line. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in your organization anyway. So how did that happen?
Well, that was actually during the time that my father was in Asia building the business. So when I had started full time in 2010, I was under my father, and it's funny because Lisa was under me, and then because Lisa signed up when we were still dating, so she was signed up under me. We got married, and then we
merged.
became one account.
Yeah.
And when I started in 2010, I was under my father, and we were just working our
our
butts off
own.
because we were just full time. And we were living in LA when we first started Nu Skin, and we actually had family in Las Vegas, and we also had a small team that was starting to grow in Las Vegas. So me and Lisa were sitting there, and we were like, nothing is keeping us in LA because most people stay where they live because of their job. But because we were both full-time in Nu Skin, we were like, we could live anywhere and do this business. And we're traveling back and forth to Vegas to support our team. What if we lived in Vegas, and if we don't like it there, we could just come back to LA? So we actually uprooted and just moved to Las Vegas. And there was good and bad. It's very different from life in LA. But once we moved here, we realized there was nothing Nu Skin here. In LA, they'll have your weekly meetings. There's some offices and things like that. But in Vegas, there was no system or weekly meeting going on. So we noticed that there were some, pockets of people doing Nu Skin, but nobody was really working as one. Nobody was really united. There was no leverage in terms of working as a team. So we actually opened up an office and brought all the sidelines in and be like, hey, we'll grow faster if we unite as one.
Mhm.
And we were working together, and things were going really good. At that time, we were working towards Ruby. We were Lapises on our way to Ruby. And towards the end of 2012, my father called me, and he was like, you guys are working hard, you're doing well, and what do you think about partnering with me? And at that time, when my father brought it up, I thought they were just worried about us, and I was like, no, we're doing good. I was like, I'm gonna be your next power line. Don't worry, we're gonna be fine. And my father at the time was saying, as you're going out and speaking more, you're running the system, you're doing the weekly meetings. If you have a higher title, it'll actually be more advantageous for you. But the bigger reason that he was pushing the partnership for me is because the lines in Korea and China, the seeds that he planted in 2000 to 2006, they were starting to really grow. And at that time, 12 years later from when my dad started, the 5th and 6th generations were growing out. But my father, at that time, his pin was an emerald. And so he wasn't able to tap into the fifth and sixth, and he was over 70 years old, and he was like, you know what, at my health, at my age, I'm not going to go out and actively recruit people and you know, build a new team and, you know, pin up to the Blue Diamond. He's like, you know what, this is the old compensation plan. He's like, I made the first 6, you and Lisa make the next 6, and let's split the business 50-50. So when he said that to me, even then I was really reluctant. Me and Lisa talked about it, and I didn't really want to do it because we're, you know, just so close to the success trip when the Ruby trips were going on, and we had a team. So, you know, I had 2 really big worries in my mind. The first one was, in a genealogy standpoint, I would be the sponsor to the leaders in Korea and China, but they have more experience than me. They have more leadership than me. How can I possibly give them value as a sponsor? So that was, you know, a really big stress in my head. And the other big stress was, what would my partners in the US think of me? And I was also kind of worried about that. And my father was very, you know, adamant about it. He's like, no, trust me, this is the better way to go. Just do it. So we ended up partnering together. And because we had our front lines, when we partnered, it automatically became a diamond and the income doubled. And then a year later, me and Lisa were just like going nuts. And then a year later, we were able to get to Blue Diamond and the income doubled again. So it was just crazy to see that happen. And the first 2 years in 2012, when we partnered, I couldn't sleep at night thinking about the partners in Asia. And I was like, how am I going to offer them any value as a sponsor? So I realized, you know what, Paul, you have to learn this business. You have to learn leadership. You have to go through everything they went through and, you know, get to their level, if not more. So at that time, I think that was the great fire that drove us and why we were able to go from the merger straight to Blue Diamond inside, I think it was 14 months. And it was that pressure. And then in 2014, as you guys, I'm sure know, the China market was collapsed because of the investigation. So all of a sudden, for 6 months, because of the investigation, they couldn't do any recruiting or any type of work because you know, they couldn't hold any meetings or meet people. So it was around the end of 2014, I had a chance to meet Ronnie in LA. And it was the first time I met Ronnie Park. And
he was our sponsor, but we never met him before. Not our sponsor, he's our third upline.
Right.
Yeah.
So when I met him in Los Angeles, I just, like, we were together for like 5-6 hours. But I just remember him saying one thing. He's like, Paul, what are you doing in America? He's like, you have a team in Korea, you have a team in China, and right now, like, they all need
Leadership.
help. You know, like they need more support. So he was like, go out there. And I think it was the 4 years of massive action that me and Lisa did. The 2 years, especially after we partnered with my father, that I felt somewhat ready to just even say like, hey, hi guys, you know. So in October, I went to Korea and I went to
2014.
Yeah, I went to Korea and China and then connected with the teams. And you know, in the beginning, they're kind of like, what do you mean you're our sponsor? Our sponsor is your dad, and from, you know, all that time ago. But I mean, the leaders knew, you know, and they saw it as an advantage, of course. So I think it was all the experience that we had from 2012 to 2014. During that time, we had our teams collapsed, and then we rebuilt, and then it collapsed. And I realized that when you build an organization, whether it's 30 people or 300 people, if it were to collapse, the anguish and the stress and the worry as a leader that you go through, it's, you know, it's the same emotion. So even though that I had leaders in Asia that had much bigger teams than me, I went through the things that they went through. And when they started to realize that, they were able to really embrace us as like, oh, you know what? Like, they didn't just get handed the business. They know what we're going through. They've, you know, had the tears and the stress and, you know, the ups and downs. So yeah, now it's great.
But then Paul also went to Asia every 3 to 4 months
after that trip.
After that trip for a good 3-4 years, 4 years, right?
Up until last November, up until COVID, I was going like every 3-4 months.
Every 3-4 months. So yeah, I mean, he even helped with the China team go to 1,000 executives, right?
It was like a massive action for 2 years that happened where we saw incredible growth, and yeah, it's been fun. But a lot of my memories comes from the time in the States. When me and Lisa were really doing our massive action in the States, that's when we first met both of you. And it's funny how I tell people, I was like, I met my 9th upline sponsor before I even met my 3rd upline sponsor or anybody in between. And we have like a lot of our great memories was when we were really going through
The struggle.
like the challenges. And I remember being in Maryland and visiting your office, and after I think Pat, it was right after you got the Maserati, and I was in your car and you were revving the engine. I was like, and that moment, I think we were in there for like a minute because the restaurant we went to after the meeting was across the street. And then I jumped in the car for he's like, Paulie, come in here. And then when you rev that engine, I think like that 1 minute in your car was like a vision for me. I was like, man,
I want a Maserati now.
no, like this is what Nu Skin, this is what I want from Nu Skin. Not just the car, but everything that you and Margaret, that both of you guys have built, and everything that the lifestyle you were enjoying. So we're very grateful to both of you and all the US leaders that we connected with during that time.
We still remember meeting Michelle in Shanghai
Yeah.
years ago.
And she
Right.
speaks highly of you. In the beginning, when we first met Michelle,
We didn't even know she's in our group.
yeah, we first met her, I think 2003 or 4.
When we first opened, we met
When
her
we first
already.
opened.
When you first started, yeah.
She actually came with a sideline, another downline of ours under Dora. And she kind of knew, I think we were her upline. I'm not really sure. She came to our apartment, and then I didn't know who she was, just a new girl that came with another girl. And so we say hello, and then she kind of says, I belong to the Korean line. So that's really great. Then she asked me if I could do meetings for her. So I said, I don't know what level she's from me. So I kind of asked her, I said, so I have a question for you. Does your line take people away from other lines?
Steal people, poach. You guys
And I
do
said,
poaching.
If you do not do that, I will do meeting for you. So we have an agreement with each other that she said, no, that's not what they teach, because she hates poaching. So since that was agreed, so I actually, I don't know if she ever said anything. Every time we're in Shanghai, we always do one meeting for her, just like she was my first level.
Yeah, I see the photos
Don't
because it
go.
always comes up on WeChat now, and I'm like, oh, Pat, remember it's in China, so it's great to see that.
Yeah, yeah. But we didn't go that often. So it was every time sometime I go by Beijing and then go into Xinjiang. But sometimes I go through Shanghai. When we go to Shanghai, we always see her.
Normally, we would stop in Shanghai.
Yeah, normally so.
At that time.
Yeah, and she would drive off, tell her some friends, and we have dinner late at night after meetings over.
Well,
It's fun.
I still remember the time we had dinner with her over the Shangri-La in Pudong.
Yeah, and she brought one of her very young men, Yuan Zhenyong.
No, An Weidong.
An Weidong, yeah, quite a few of them. So
yeah, they all know, all of the leaders in our China team know you guys so well, and it's so great.
And you guys are so generous in terms of meetings, and also with like just I guess embracing our team. I don't know if you knew Michelle before or after you asked her that question about agreeing to do the meetings. Did you know that she was in your downline?
I knew she was. She told me she was in a Korean group.
We guessed she was in our group.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you guys are so generous. I remember when we were first starting out, after one of the kickoff meetings in California, you treated your entire group to a dinner, and it was at a Chinese restaurant.
It was Pat's birthday, actually.
Was it?
Yeah, it was Pat's.
Yeah, 1 year. That's right.
Yeah.
You guys like invited us with open arms, even though we're like so far beyond your downline.
No, it's okay. Yeah, to me, working together is more fun, right? Because you get to learn from everybody, kind of. This is the way I look at it. Yeah.
Right,
And
right.
actually,
And
I learned a lot from you. I learned from Michelle because they always have different ideas, because everybody have different way to do things. So I pick up ideas from them. And I said, oh, this is really good idea. And I, talk to her, learn from her. Last year she was in France. No, she was in Belgium. Yeah. During the beginning of COVID, but I think she went back to China later.
She
Yeah.
was stuck in Europe for
Yeah.
a while.
Yeah, that's when China shut down. She's like, I'm not going to go back in. I'm going to wait. So she stayed in Europe for a couple months, and it was that's just
Yeah.
kind of another great new skin story. I guess having to.
Oh, I know.
have
She
to
might,
live
you
it,
never
yeah.
know. She might have a big line growing there now. Who knows?
Right.
Well, one thing is we didn't realize you had such a large group in Shanghai.
In the beginning, we didn't. No, in the beginning, she wasn't. I think
Just a
when we
few,
met
you know.
her, she barely became an SR.
Yeah.
Either she is an SR or she just started. I don't even remember now. But I figure, we always need friends. And as long as we agree that we don't steal from each other, I'm good with that.
that's amazing. Yeah. For you to even be there and connect everybody, that's, I think, a
But she
huge.
came. She connected with someone that came to me, but that someone's gone. That someone didn't make it, but
Mm.
Michelle stayed. So
Yeah.
we're lucky.
Well,
You're lucky. We're lucky. We're all lucky.
Okay.
It's good work.
yes, okay. That brings up to the next question. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So what do you think as a new skin distributor, what kind of attributes you must have? Your mindset, your knowledge of products, what do you have to do?
Mindset is the hardest and most important. We always tell this to our teams. There's 3 things that you need to do this business. You need skills, knowledge, and mindset. But 80% of that is mindset. Skills and knowledge you could learn, and that's 10% each of the business. But 80% is mindset. So even we struggle with that sometimes, because there are times when it gets so frustrating. Like I get so frustrated. I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. But then Paul helps me, get out of that mindset. And if he's like that, I try to help him too. So just how the founders of our company, Sandy Tillotson, Blake Roney, and Steve Lund, they said when they first started this, founded the company, they're just glad that they didn't quit at the same time. So then we have each other to support. Like, there are times when I just want to just give up and not do anything, and then he'll support me and he'll come back. And yeah, it's just creating that mindset of just keeping focused and just thinking about that goal that you have always. And yeah, there's no other thing that I can think of at this moment that is most important than just keeping your mindset really, really focused and
Positive.
yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree with Lisa on the mindset, because with the skills and knowledge part, when it comes to the knowledge, you can always just redirect someone to the information that they're seeking. And maybe you have great skills giving a demo or talking about the compensation plan. But if you're in a bad mood and you don't want to talk to anyone, all of that skill, all of that knowledge is actually a waste, because you're not going to talk to someone if you're not in the right state of mind to want to meet people, to share information with them, and do all that. So yeah, all of the trainings that we do is mindset training. When somebody comes to me with a product question, I'll defer them to the website or tell them to call product support. Or I think because when we first started, I didn't get sponsoring. I never got an ABC meeting. I never
got a demo. We never.
I never got a demo. It was just, I told my father I was going to do Nu Skin, and that was it. And he had a lot of resources, but they were all in Korean. And Lisa and I were born in New York and in the States. So sure, but our vocabulary is limited, our comprehension is very limited. So we were actually searching through Google and YouTube, even looking for any type of BOM in English, because I had never heard an English BOM prior to joining Nu Skin. So it was really the fact that whenever me and Lisa had a question about a product, we would call corporate or search online. So that was like the greatest resource for us. And whenever we didn't know something, we had to kind of seek out the answer. So in the beginning, when we had new partners, they were like, how come you guys don't do anything for us? And we're like, figure it out yourself. This is your own business. And later we found the balance of creating the independent distributor while also being nurturing and being
That's something that we
responsive.
had to learn because we weren't able to receive that. We thought, okay, why are you coming to us? Just figure it out yourself.
That's what you did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very good.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
mm,
Oh no, I was just gonna say, yeah, we focus a lot on the mindset part.
Mm.
so with the right mindset, you can overcome objections. That's the next question. How you handle objections?
Yeah, so in the beginning, it was very difficult because we didn't know how to react to objections. I think the only difference between a new distributor, a new skin, and a team lead is that they went through more objections. So I always tell people go through objections a lot, fail a lot, because in failure you'll always learn. It's not that you're failing; you're just getting more experienced and you're learning. So what we did in the beginning is Paul helped me a lot with role playing on how to handle objections. And a lot of objections, I took it very personally in the beginning. Like they were uh, insulting me, or they were thinking badly of me. But I learned to separate that because they're not rejecting me as a person, they're rejecting the product or they're rejecting the business. And the no, I always think is not now. It doesn't mean no, it just means not now. So even though they say no, I always keep them in my list. And that is something that I can go back to maybe in a few months or even a few years.
Mm.
So yeah, for me, that's how I handle the objections.
Yeah, with the objections, I've read a lot of books on network marketing, on sales, and because I had no experience in this field, I was a number cruncher for my entire career, and then all of a sudden to shift into a sales and marketing type work was brand new to me. So as I was reading these books and applying them, I realized that we need to handle the objections, but the best way to handle it is to get more information from the person you're talking to. And the reason that we hear objections, especially in our industry, what we hear often is, I don't have time, I don't like sales, it's too expensive, I don't have money. And it's all the very same common objections that everyone hears. And I don't really hear it like that. What I hear is that their certainty level is not, they're not 100% certain. There's more uncertainty than certainty. And maybe they're not certain about the product or the company or even me. And what we need to do is bring them to a higher level of certainty. And the only way to do that is to learn more about them and give them what they need. So when a lot of people say, I don't have time, it's not that they don't have time, it's that they don't want to give their time to this. And so we're like, okay, tell me more, how long has this been a problem for you? So a lot of the easiest way to handle the objections, in my opinion, is to gather more intelligence, to gather more information about that person's experiences, why they may think the way they do, why they have the certain opinion. And the more information they give us, then we'll know how to properly address the objection.
Yeah, because especially with time, everyone has time, right? Everyone has time to watch TV or go to golf or, go to the bar or, yeah, everyone has time. It's just how do you want to spend that time?
Well, when Hong Tai came to us, tried to tell us about Nu Skin, our response was, we're busy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
First time. Second time, still busy. Third time,
Busier.
very, very busy. I just don't understand why we are so busy. We're busy watching television. That's why we're busy.
Right.
But the fourth time he called you, boy, what a pain in the neck.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll buy something from him and get rid of him. That's our mentality at that time.
But you know what? It worked. Thank God he kept doing that.
I know. Lucky for us that he asked us 4th time. If he didn't ask us the 4th time,
Well,
you get goosebumps. Yeah, I wouldn't know what we would be. What the old couple sitting at home with COVID stuck.
really
in the
watching TV all night long.
Yeah.
But yeah, follow up is so important. Follow up.
Mhm.
Because yeah, I mean, even a lot of times people when they hear no once or twice, that's it. They never want to go back. And it even took you 4 times. Imagine if he didn't follow up that 4th time. Usually it's around 6 times. So
I
thank
know.
God it didn't go that far. But
Yeah, we probably wouldn't be here, possibly.
I know.
Well,
That
same thing, you know, when we talked to the Kishimotos, we had to
Mm.
call them the 4th or 5th time before they said yes. So we keep telling our people that, you know, look, you've been rejecting people left and right. You felt not bad about it. Now it's your turn to get rejected. This is called payback.
Karma, right?
Yeah, payback, you know.
Payback.
So what comes around gets around. You
So-
deserve them, you know.
So I always know at least take four times to finding out this person to get closer, whatever, and let them try the product or whatever if they want to do the business.
yes, that is so important. So important.
Yeah, so again, it's your mindset, right? You
Yeah.
see that this is what you want to do. This is good for you, not something that, you know, you can come in, look, take a peek and, oh no, it's not for me, and then leave.
Yeah. And I think having something to remind you every single day. When we first started this business, we didn't even know how long it would take to get to Ruby or how long it would take to go to Blue Diamond. But we just wrote that we're going to go to Ruby by 35 years old, I think, right? No, Ruby by 2012. We still have it here. We posted here. And we wrote that 10 years ago. And we said we're going to be Ruby by 2012 and Blue Diamond by 35.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then
And
free
then
by
it
40.
yeah, and then free, completely financially free by 40, and that really happened.
Ooh.
So yeah, so even if it like people talk about having a dream board, and we have a dream board also, but we just like in our living room, we were just planning together, okay, a timeline of what milestones that we wanted to hit, and without even knowing how long it would take to get there, we just did it. We just posted it, and then that really happened. So it's quite amazing what you wish for. You have to be careful what you wish for because you might get it.
Yeah. That's good. That's actually very good. So let's see.
Okay. Well, since COVID-19 hit, how has this affected your business?
In, huh.
There's plus and minuses. One of the pluses is that we love working at home. We don't have to worry about traffic. We don't have to worry about babysitting. We don't have to, I don't know. I like it because I don't have to spend time on the road. And I like it that we don't have to travel so far to meet our prospects. So it has helped expand our business in the sense that now I have a cousin that lives in San Francisco and she's interested in the business. And I don't have to physically go to San Francisco. We could just communicate like this. And COVID actually sped everything up technologically. So this is something that would have happened anyway in the future. But because right now we have no choice but to do Zoom calls, that people are getting a lot more used to it, and we're connecting much easier from far away. So in that way, it has been advantageous.
Right. I feel like it kind of brought down all the borders in a way.
Yeah.
Because I was traveling every 3-4 months back and forth to Asia. So to me, I was like, all right, all of our income is, well, pretty much most of our income is coming from Asia. And that's where I wanted to focus. And, you know, what I do remember about my father, when he would talk to me about the comp plan, he's like, everything is about the depth. So focus on the depth, drive the lines, and you know, that's how you build a healthy organization. So so my dad always told me to focus on the Korea and China partners. So me going back and forth for years, I've been telling them, you know, even if I'm in the US, we could do meetings through Zoom or other type of, you know, platforms. And they're like, yeah, you know, let's try it. And it never happened. And all of a sudden COVID happens, and now they're forced to learn it. And now I see my partners often more than before COVID, because I see my partners in Korea like every week. I do minimum once a month calls with, I do once a month calls with the whole China team. And I do a once a month leader meeting with our partners in China. So I actually am more involved with them now post-COVID than pre-COVID. And now I wonder, will I ever go back there again? Will I see them again? Because we're so used to meeting like this. And I think that's the definite advantage, that people were forced to kind of embrace the technology. And by embracing that technology, now it's easier to communicate and to build teams no matter where the person, all we have to do is just figure out the time difference then, and we're good. So.
Mhm.
What
You
does it
guys,
mean-
mm,
Go ahead.
you guys have meetings every Wednesday, right?
Yes.
Yes.
We have meetings in English on Wednesdays and in Korean on Thursdays. But
Mm.
yeah, and Ronnie Park is actually the one that leads those groups. But for the English one, we took he asked us to lead because the English is easier for us, and so we invite other leaders to come to speak for us during those Zoom calls. Yeah, and one of the things that actually was difficult for us when COVID first started, because everything is technologically like through Zoom and through texting, because we're Gen X. So we're kind of in between technology and face to face. So we got so used to face that it's weird for us to have a relationship through text or create new relationships through just meeting people online, random people online. So that's something that we're still learning and getting used to, because the younger generation, all they do is text. Yeah. And the way that I meet new people is through my son's school or through his library activities or mom activities, and we can't do that anymore. And I miss that face-to-face interaction, and just bumping into people by chance. Right now, because no one is going outside, you either have to find a time that works, and it's all done online. So that's kind of a personal struggle for me. It's just meeting.
Maybe you have to give us oldie modies a class how to do it.
Well, we're trying to learn too, actually. I think one thing that we realized this year was the importance of being able to pivot and adapt to the new environment in any situation. Because when I first started Nu Skin, I still have my first BOM PowerPoint. And at that time, the target market was not the millennials, it was the baby boomers. So when I joined Nu Skin, it was like the baby boomers are the biggest population. They control all the money. So the Gen X was kind of small, millennials were too young. And the entire focus was find baby boomers, to get as customers and partners, because that's the generation you want to target.
Yeah.
And then 7-8 years into the business, now it's like,
all about
we got to find millennials. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
We skipped our generation.
I was like, what about the Gen X's? And just being able to adapt and embrace the change quickly will help you guys. Well, I guess will help anyone listening to overcome, because there's some people, like even for us, for a couple months when COVID hit, we're just like, you know what, let's wait till this kind of dies down. So we weren't actively working. We're like, all right, let's wait for the storm to pass before we go out in the open again. And after a month, a couple months, we were going crazy, and we're just like, we can't stay like this forever. So we're like, all right, we got to start being more active. How can we start actually growing again? So we started with the Zoom calls, and the social media is still something we're learning and trying to get better at. But definitely being able to adapt will, not just COVID, but any situation, will help you guys.
Yeah.
Change is inevitable.
Well, you guys think of us.
I know.
We're too used to doing face to face. We've done it for 30-some years. Now all of a sudden you have to do Zoom calls.
Yeah. But what's so amazing is that whether you do face to face or Zoom, you could still be successful in this business. There's no right answer, and that's what I love about it. You just do what works for you. So
Well, one advantage with Zoom is it got rid of the excuse, so I'm on my way. Traffic, horrible. Traffic is horrible. I can't get there.
Yeah, I remember in Singapore when it first opened, there was one of my person was trying to get this guy, and this guy always said, "I'm on my way." But like I was there for a week, he's on his way. I guess next month, 2 months later, I went back. He's coming. He's on his way. So we finally said, "Hey, how is that Mister on the way? Is he still on the way?" He's on the way.
Oh wow.
I never met him because he was always on the way.
Way.
So
Hilarious.
now with Zoom, you show up, or you just cannot tell me there's a traffic jam on the internet.
Right, right.
No excuses.
And I think definitely I like this format better because even just amongst the leaders, where would the leaders ever get a chance to have this type of conversation? It would either be at the team elite trip or at the big events.
Yeah.
And through Zoom now, it seems like there's more meetings, and more
Yeah.
chances to communicate and build relationships. So
Yeah, and get to hear more success stories because yeah, there's so many people that I haven't heard of that whose story I'm hearing about, and yeah, it's really inspiring.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. Yeah, we learn a lot too through this. Yeah.
Well, we
okay.
get to meet face to face, with people guys like you. Okay. I mean,
This is called face to face.
yeah, this is.
Yeah.
this is the new face-to-face.
I mean, we have talked to a few of our leaders out in Thailand and then Philippines or China, Hong Kong, Singapore. So we have someone from Singapore here, actually.
Right now?
Yeah.
Oh, Brenda. Brenda's from Singapore,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
nice. I've always wanted to go there.
Yeah.
Hopefully
Oh,
one
they'll
day.
love you. There is a Korean group there, you know that.
Oh,
It's
I didn't know.
under Ronnie Park, under I can't remember his name now.
Is it under Ronnie Park?
Yeah, it's in Ronnie. Everybody's in the Ronnie Park.
Oh.
Any Koreans in the Ronnie Park. You know, there's a Korean guy in Hong Kong. She was a translator last week. Junis. Yeah, I think Junis knows somebody in Singapore, so it's all connected somehow.
And Junis's daughter just is active in the business now too. So
Really? Wow.
yeah, I met them last year in Korea. We
Ah.
went together.
Hey, or something
Yeah,
like
we
that.
talked.
Lee, right?
Yeah.
We talked to somebody in Korea in Busan area, Jung-il.
Chung-il.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're very close with them. So when he saw that, we were like, oh wow, he's
So
everywhere.
your Korean is all picked up now, right? You can speak Korean like a real Korean.
No, not yet.
People can still say, "Oh, you have an American accent."
No, this guy,
Yeah,
this
with
guy's
the-
an American,
with-
pretending to be Korean.
With the new skin, I guess in our business, there's certain words that are used more frequently than others. So I can do trainings and BOMs in Korean for new skin, and beyond that, it's very limited. I specifically learned like goal setting and the words that I need to know to train in Korean. I learned those vocabularies, and I'm kind of stuck there. So.
It's
Wow.
okay. You'll be there. When I first went to Taiwan, when they first opened, I have this thing written up, and they use a slide projector. We use a slide projector in Chinese. And then I know what they are because, like you, I went through, I memorized this slide is talking da da da. So I went to Taiwan, and then some lady says, "You know, speak Mandarin. Don't come here."
Don't speak Chinese.
I
so
know.
Get out of here.
She thought my Chinese was so horrible.
Oh,
And I
right.
said, "Oh, I got to memorize more." So then it got better because you go so often, then you pick up some idioms, vocabulary. Yeah, I will flip flop words in Chinese a lot of time. So I had the right hand person that when my hand goes something on the side, he knows I'm looking for some vocabulary. So he'll try to figure out which vocabulary I was looking for. And he'll say, "Is this, that, and this?" Yeah, that one. So I pick up. So that was funny. Yeah, that is a long time ago. In
So-
Hong Kong, I got away with English a lot.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm, mm,
In
mm,
Taiwan, I couldn't.
mm.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, one thing is, I forgot to tell everybody, you guys are team elites and COE 1. right? With a big group like that, you should be COE too, very
Pretty
Right
soon.
soon.
around the corner.
Around the corner.
Around the corner.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
Yeah,
good.
this I think last November we had our 6th COE in our organization, 4 from China, 2 in Korea.
Uh-huh.
So
mm,
we're waiting for the COE 2, but that'll happen when we build a big team in the US. So I remember Marguerite one time, she told me a long time ago in Utah, she's like, Paul, how many super lines do you have? I was like, 2. And you're like, you need at least 5. I have 5. And then I was like, I gotta get 5. I gotta get 5.
Yeah. Because you never, and then now because of the company's new velocity, so we were looking at it. So we have how many? We have 7. We have 7 big lines. That's over 10,000.
Wow.
We have some small one, 10,000, exactly 10, 15,000. But the big ones got pretty big,
That's
you know,
amazing.
with or without our effort. But they really wanted to do it. They were really focused, I have
Wow.
to say.
the thing is, once you find the right person, and or he or she decided to do the business, you go by itself.
Yeah.
That's
Really.
what it is. It's finding
Yeah.
that one person.
Yeah,
And it takes
so-
you hundreds of people to go through to find that one person.
That's why you have really total flexibility in time, because that partner is going full blown on her own or on his own, and
Yeah.
then you find another one. That's
Yeah. You know, my cousin in China, the one way out Timbuktu, I called it. In the beginning, it was actually thanks to Michelle. Did you know when we first started 2003, at the end of 2003, the SARS came.
Mm.
So I called her up, says, I'm not coming to China. My life is more important. I'm not coming to China.
Yeah.
So, but she needed to learn things. So I both talked to Michelle and her a lot. The longest phone call is crazy. But anyway, so then Michelle was running there was some kind of boot camp in
Qingdao.
Qingdao, somewhere out that way. So I said, can my cousin go there and learn? So they allowed her to go. She was there, I think, with one extra person. And she went one time and she learned. And the second time, I think on the third time, she said she really picked up the idea and she really wanted to do it. So
Wow.
yeah, they have a good size group.
Mm.
They have
3 or 4 CEO.
2, yeah.
Wow, wow.
COE 1 is COE
Yeah,
2
yeah.
pretty
Yeah,
soon.
And she's older than me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's old.
I know that is old. She's only 6 months older than me.
Oh.
Yeah. So we never knew each other until New Skin, and I wanted to find a line in China.
Uh-huh.
So I asked my mom, so who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know? You know how that is, right?
Yes.
So luckily we found her.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, so Michelle helped us a lot too.
Yeah,
so,
that's why I appreciate Michelle.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all great leaders over there.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
great leaders.
Well, okay. Now let me ask you. The next question is: can you imagine what kind of a position you will be if you didn't have New Skin?
Oh, I know. That answer is simple. I would be probably at my old company or a different company doing the same Monday through Friday grind. I think the biggest thing for me was at my old job, it was just every Monday, all I would do was wait for the weekend. I would just wait for Friday. And then 2 days I would enjoy it. And then, Sunday night, I'd be like, oh, I got to start this again. I got to, do the cycle again. And if we hadn't joined Nu Skin, I think our lives it would pretty just much been 10 years later, we'd just be in a higher position, maybe a little higher salary, higher title, but we would still be beholden to that schedule of 9 to 5 and having a boss and things like that. So,
And then with COVID-19, maybe more issues, right?
oh, for sure. Absolutely.
Like when I was teaching piano, I would have to sit next to a student like this, but I would not be able to do that right now, especially with COVID, because you can't have close contact. So yeah, I would probably either be out of business or
Yeah, we would have probably started a business because we were so looking for something. And the success rates of new businesses aren't that high. So who knows if we would have done well or not. But yeah, I don't even want to really think about what life would have been without Nu Skin, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's impossible right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
Lisa
cold.
always says it's like squeezing toothpaste out of the tube. You can
have-
never, once you squeeze it, you can never put it back in. So it's just one direction.
True. Yeah. Wow, that's good. That's a good answer. That's a very good answer.
What's the next one?
Okay. Okay, what has Nu Skin brought you that is most satisfying?
Time freedom. Yeah, like when I had my son, he's gonna be 5 in December now.
I was just gonna
And-
ask. Right.
Oh,
Yes, he's gonna be
5?
5 next month. Yeah,
mm,
and one of the reasons why I started Nu Skin was because when I started a family, I wanted to make sure that I'm home for all those milestones. You know, I wanted to be a part of his growing up. I didn't want to have to just drop him off at daycare or have somebody else raise him. I wanted to be the one to do that. So just having that flexibility is really amazing because I know that if I was still teaching, I would be out there right now and having to physically be at a place apart from my son. And now that I'm with him all the time, I kind of wish that we have some time away from each other sometimes. That's why I say you have to be careful what you wish for because you're gonna get it. Yeah.
Don't
So
worry when he grows up.
They grow up fast.
Yeah.
they
too fast.
do. But now that he's a little bit older, like we can focus on work again because he doesn't need us all the time. So yeah, like even though even if he goes to school or let's say COVID is done with and we have to go out and meet people again and start working again, I'm open to embrace that again because I want to create a future for him so that he can be able to do whatever it is that he wants to do. One of the dreams for me was if he's going to read about the pyramids in Egypt or if he reads about the Great Wall of China, I don't want him to just see it in books. I want to show him physically and take him there and show it to him and see what it looks like in real life. So yeah, I mean, yeah, we're ready to start working hard again and just, focus on growing the US.
Yeah, the time freedom is definitely the big plus. When it was actually from the pregnant, when Lisa was pregnant, towards the end of her pregnancy, she had already decided to just be a full-time mom and kind of go into, I guess, retirement mode in the business.
Mhm.
And after our son was born, I was still traveling, every
Asia.
couple months to Asia. But when I would be back in the States, my schedules in Asia would be so crazy for 3 weeks, and it would just be just out, like the periods of massive action that when I would come back home, I'm jet lagged, I'm exhausted. So until my next trip, I was just kind of in full-time dad mode. So in that regard, when I kind of think of it now, Lisa was full-time until I think a year or two ago. And when I calculated how much time I'm exactly working in the Nu Skin business, but after our son was born, it was just pretty much when I was on my business trips, and it was about 3 months out of the year. So for the other 9 months, I was home every day with my son. And I know with most fathers, they're not able to be there because they're always, at their jobs. But I witnessed my son's first word, his first step, all of his milestones. We were there together, Lisa and I. And that's definitely one of the greatest advantages of the business. And I think the second biggest advantage is that we have control of our lives. So when we decide to take off for a while, we can take off. And when I compare that to a job, if you want to make more money, you got to hope that your company will give you a raise when the evaluation time comes once a year. But with Nu Skin, it's like, you know what? Like, I want to make a little more money. You just work harder. You just get out back in the field and run. And I remember Lisa, after 3 years of being at home every day with the baby, she was like, I want to get back to work. Like I want to talk to an adult, not just a child. So she came back in and she was like, I'm rusty. And I was like, go back to the basics. So the basic was doing demos and just talking to people. And just like that, like riding a bike, she was able to sharpen that knife again that was rusty for 3 years. And now she's back. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I think somebody has a question about the massive action. Hold on, let me check.
Yes,
said-
Fiona wrote, would you please tell us how to do massive action and how many people do you recruit each month? So for me, the most people that I recruited was in the beginning of my business because that's when you have the most fire and that's when you have the most drive. So I find that if you're new in this business, keep going at it. I mean, you don't know what you're doing, but at the same time, you're learning as you're growing. So I actually did a lot of demos because that's how I was recruited, because of the demos. Even though when I went to TEU, they were talking about the lifestyle and the business. That's what really like turned me around. But action wise, I did a lot of demos. And right now, because there's not a lot of demos going on because you can't physically be with somebody, yeah, just through I've been learning through Instagram and through chatting, just connecting to people that way. I still lend out the Lumi spot, even though I can't do it for them. I still lend it out to people because they can hold it onto it and use it every day for a week or two. But yeah, for me, I like to do a lot of product experience because if you don't feel it and touch it and smell it and try it yourself, it's hard because people, even if they do the business and you don't know the products or you don't like the products, you're not going to know what to present or what to focus on. So yeah, I did it through demos and products. Paul, on the other hand.
I took a more top-down approach. So Lisa was always bottom-up, focusing on the product side. I was focused more on the business side. And I think it's just kind of how we were both just recruited and just more comfortable doing the business the way that we were most passionate about. And I always talked about the business and the freedom. It's that I had 2 periods of massive action, one in the US and another in Asia. And they both lasted about 2 years, I realized. And I'm kind of waiting for my 3rd wave of massive action. I'm trying to build up that fire. And it's kind of hard to bring it back out. So it's really important to always be plugged in. And when it's massive action, for me, it's just anybody that I can talk to, I talk to. There's times when I've been out in Las Vegas, a friend would visit and they're like, hey, Paul, let's go play blackjack or whatever. They want to enjoy the Vegas experience. So I'll go out and I'm not a big gambler, but I'll sit at the table with them and I'm sitting at the table and then people chat. There's 5 people sitting at a table and, you know, everyone's hoping to win and small talk just naturally happens. And with Vegas, it's a little easier because anywhere you go, you have an opening line of where are you from? Because nobody really lives here. If you go out to the Strip, everyone's visiting from somewhere else. And when I ask them, then they ask me, and then the conversation starts. So it's just finding the will and the mindset to really go out and just talk to everyone. We've been kind of complacent this year, to be brutally honest. We're just like, oh, you know, with our son not being in preschool anymore. And
I have to do the schooling
yeah,
at home.
Yeah.
We're just like, all right, you know, this is another down. It'll, you know, when the trend changes, it'll go back up again. And I think just a couple months ago, we were like, all right, let's try to get into action mode again. So there's those periods, whether you're brand new or whether you're, you know, you're seasoned in the business, you're gonna have those periods of up and down. And you know, when it's the downtime, you know, we try to, you know, read more books, you know, things to really help us get us in the right state of mind and get that attitude correct. So because if you don't want to talk to anyone, you're not going to talk to anyone. And especially with me, I'm naturally an introvert, so I don't really like to go out. I'm not a very social butterfly. If I'm somewhere and nobody talks to me, I'm perfectly happy not talking to anyone and just going home. So to be proactive in talking about Nu Skin, it takes energy and it takes effort from me. So for me to even do that, it has to be the right mindset and attitude. So getting that aligned is how we get into massive action.
Yeah, good. Very good. So that's kind of massive action. Your words of wisdom for newcomers, massive action.
So a lot of people,
Demos.
especially in the beginning for new people,
Uh-huh.
I found that some people will use this as an excuse. Oh, I need to learn more before I go out and talk to someone. And we hear that a lot, like, oh, I want to study a little more. I want to use the products a little longer. And I heard this saying, which I really like, is that passion on fire is better than knowledge on ice. So, there's a lot of people that have so much knowledge and it's just sitting on ice. It's not doing anything. But if you're passionate and you don't have any knowledge, but your passion is on fire, then you're going to figure it out. If you're going at 100 miles per hour, nothing's going to be able to stop you. And that's why I don't care if people aren't so great at sales or talking to people or product experts. If they're passionate and they're on fire and if the one thing that they're certain of is, I want to change my life, I want to change my future, that's enough for me. I don't care what their background is, what their current level of education is. None of that matters. So
it's the choice, just making that choice and deciding. And once you decide that, okay, this is the answer for me and this is the goal that I want, everything else becomes easier in a way. Like when you hesitate, you're like, oh, should I do this or should I do that? That takes more effort than just saying, I'm going to do it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, talk about demos. Tell them about what you are doing.
Oh yeah, I think so. That we have been actually this week is our body challenge demo, but I think we actually
Well,
learned it from
She's too young to have that problem.
That's true. So we actually learned it from Christine Lowe in LA when she was doing a body challenge. I mean, facial challenge first, and the next week's body challenge. So we picked up on the idea, and we asked her if she could be like our mentor, founder. That if we have questions, we can ask her. So we started this probably the end of April. So we've been doing it 1 week. So every week, 1 week of each month, we do facial challenge, teaching Lumi Spa. Then it was what is galvanic spa. Then how do you do V-face? Then how do you get rid of lines? And then we do a mask. So mask, we change it to call a masquerade party. Like that opera, right?
Phantom of the
Phantom
Opera.
of the Opera, we call it masquerade. And we recently, one of our distributors' son is a voice, a singer from, he graduated as a singer with a college in Malaysia. And he come and sing Phantom of the Opera for our opening of our masquerade party. Yeah, it's very cute.
Fun. Yeah, so yeah, creating those programs, that's another way to do demos, those face challenges.
Yeah.
It's really, really a great way to even get new people. So even if you're not physically there to do the demo, they can experience the products for a week.
You also get some of those guys that bought a spa and just let it sit in the bathroom.
Yeah. But that is true. There were always, so I actually invited some friend of a friend for a long time. Every time I invite her, this may be the third time I'm inviting her. So she's got another excuse. I'm having dinner with somebody, so I can't come in at 9 o'clock. Okay, that's all right. So I haven't figured out what to do. So what I decided to do is I'm going to send something that we do in a picture we took of we were doing the feet, this Monday. And so I'm sending the foot picture to her, see what she missed, to show her what she missed. Maybe, we don't know. I'm just trying different things to get her in.
Yes, absolutely. We're all still learning, and just to become a really avid, passionate learner and just be open to try anything. I think that's really important also.
Yeah.
In business.
I think one time, Ellen is your downline, right?
Ellen?
In Boston?
No.
Oh,
she's
in
our
Connecticut.
side. Connecticut, yes.
Connecticut, yeah.
Oh, Connecticut.
Yeah, there's a lot of she did we invite her to do something? I can't remember now.
She did a demo for us one time, I think.
Yeah. But so it's fun. I call it, it's really across the board learning. So we have people from Asia, and so what I did is I asked some of the Blue Diamonds, I first kind of lured them in, right? After I lured them in, so now that I get them to sign up, if they like to do it, because this way, so we have one diamond person named Lenny. She just finished today. She's doing tummy, and she actually do a dance. She would, you will wave this, and, you do it with spa. And her upline told me she grew by threefold during
Wow.
the last 3 months.
Oh wow.
In,
Yeah.
in the States?
No, she's in Malaysia. She's in
Wow.
Malaysia, and I think she has a group in Malaysia and everywhere. Everybody has connections all over.
Yes.
So that was pretty interesting. Her upline's from Hong Kong, so it's
Wow.
like Hong Kong, Malaysia. Then she goes out whatever different.
That's
And then from
amazing.
Malaysia to India?
True. But there's India. I think there's nothing yet. Nobody has
Yeah,
heard
not
it.
yet.
Right next door. Right? So,
Yes,
so to
but it's right
speak.
next door, so it's good.
Okay, well, I guess what else would you like to cover?
Yeah.
We have covered a few topics already.
Anything you
Yeah.
thought that we forgot?
No, I think you guys covered everything. I think I just wanted to maybe I guess some last words on timing. We've seen waves of growth, and Pat and Margaret, they've definitely seen the waves. I always hear the story of 89 to 91 when the US market went from 50 million to 500 million. It grew by 10 times. And, Nu Skin has these certain, windows of opportunity.
Momentum.
And even when we joined the business, the country was still the economy wasn't fully recovered. It was still, struggling. But Nu Skin went through this incredible boom. It's, the ageLOC boom. So, tremendous growth from 2009 to the ageLOC launch till 2014. It was just everywhere globally was growing. And, now we're seeing another economic downturn. And the beauty of this business is that we're almost recession proof. When the economy is good, then a lot of people are looking to, try a new beauty product, or, they have discretionary income, so they want to spend money. So finding customers is not that hard. And then when the economy is struggling, a lot of people are more open to looking for side ways to make extra income. So the business is a great product to promote during times of economic hardship. So no matter what phase the economy is in, there's always opportunity. But with Nu Skin right now, we're seeing so much growth that it's kind of crazy. It's overwhelming even for the company to keep up with this increased demand. And when you add in the new product launches with the Boost and the new Nutricentials, I think one of the reasons me and Lisa, because the first half of this year, we were just, to be honest, we were kind of useless. We were just home. We were just parents, and we weren't really active in the business. But now, right, I'm seeing this tidal wave. People say, this wave is coming. And since last year, I've been telling, my partners in Asia, I don't see a wave coming. I see a tsunami coming. And, it's starting here in the Americas region where I think at the last leadership call, they said that if the US keeps on this trajectory in the next couple of years, they're going to overtake the China market's revenues, and the US market, the Americas will be the number one. And, I remember also the CEO saying, when the American market moves, the whole world moves. And we're starting to see the beginnings of this tremendous growth. So wherever you may be in the world, the timing for this business is great because most people's minds are open because they're looking for something. So, give yourself a big window. With me and Lisa, when we first started the business, we weren't looking to make 10,000 a month overnight. Sure, we hear these type of success stories, but when I think of most successful people, it's taken them about 10 years to become a professional in any field. My brother's a doctor. I remember 4 years of med school, 4 years of undergrad, 3 years of residency, 1 year of internship, 11 years of study and internship and residencies to become a healthcare professional and to start making good income. And if you have that mindset with Nu Skin, let's say you're not a millionaire in 4 years or 5 years, it's okay. Even if it takes you 10 years to get to Blue Diamond. And that was what we always heard from Scott Schwartz. He would say, if you do Nu Skin for 10 years, 95% of the people will get to Blue Diamond as long as they don't quit. And, we remember that statistic. So with all the new people in this, in Nu Skin, if you find that you're reaching challenges or struggling, remember, you're in the learning phase. So, it really is a program where after 10 years, you're going to be an expert no matter what you do. And if you could be an expert in this, there's no limits to the amount you can earn. There's no limits to the time freedom that you'll have. So don't waste a good crisis, I guess. Don't waste a good
Good
pandemic
recession.
or a good recession by just being home. This is the
People
time.
are people are out looking for,
Yeah.
for-
Right.
That's a good word. Don't waste.
Right.
The
Don't waste a
crisis.
Don't waste a recession.
I like that.
Yeah.
New word. New word. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah. With the new comp plan, it's even greater. So
Mhm.
Mm.
you find
Mm.
6 good leaders, and you're
You're good.
You're good. You know? And then
That's
with,
right.
with 10, 20 million people unemployed, they're out there.
Yeah.
You just have to find them.
You just have to find. Okay, that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, we just want to thank you so much for inviting us. It's such an honor to be here because we looked up to you throughout our entire Nu Skin journey. And to even be in this kind of position, it's really like a dream come true for us. It's amazing. So thank you for having us. And to constantly be learning from each other, and for you to connect us with, other leaders and other people that are, doing this business. It's just, you guys are like the ultimate example for us. So thank you.
No, thank you. We're learning.
Yeah.
We'll learn from each other. Okay. Yeah. We're learning from young ones how to do things. So yeah.
Not too many old ones to learn from us anyway.
Yeah. We will have to re-interview Lang Chao again.
But anyway, yikes, it's 12:30.
Yes, it must be so late for you.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so I guess we'll finish here. Okay.
Yeah.
And thank you for joining us, taking time out. And
Gotta stop recording first.
okay, let me stop the recording. Click.
Thank you, everyone, for
everyone.
being